So, UK MdDS Campaign. MdDS stands for Mouth Debarkment Syndrome, good luck you signers. It's basically a constant sensation of rocking, bobbing, swaying. I get the ataxia thing completely. And it usually results when people disembark, clues in the word, from planes and boats and trains, but some people do get it apparently spontaneously after operations, and recently we've had quite a few reports of people getting it after playing video games. So who knows? It is a rare neurological condition, but we work a lot with vestibular organisations because of the effect that it has on our balance. So when I was paired up with Fiona, it was a campaign group of one, and that was me. There are lots of support groups for Mouth Debarkment syndrome throughout the world. Some are more supportive than others, but nobody was really doing much in the way of campaigning. There was fundraising happening, but that was all being spent in America, and I felt that services for people in the UK were way behind. I've since then been joined, we've actually changed the name now, we're now called Action for MdDS UK. The strapline being technology, training, treatment. I've been joined by a couple of other people, and things are moving forward now as a result of that, which is wonderful. It's great not to feel that it's just me. And primarily as a result of the mentoring scheme, I felt empowered and encouraged to be part of the solution rather than just feeling that I was part of the problem. When I started out with Fiona, we decided things were changing so fast in the world of Mouth Debarkment syndrome that we decided to take a very dynamic approach and just grab whatever opportunities there were out there. And Fiona talked me into doing something that I'd been really trying to resist for a long time, which was blogging. And Findacure thankfully decided to host the blog because I was dreading having to be a media whore and promote my own writing. I'm a professional writer, and it's the thing I'm worst at. I'm quite good at the writing, but I'm rubbish at promoting it. But when it was backed by Findacure, then of course it was different, because really what I was doing was promoting Findacure as well. So that was the first thing that we agreed I was going to do. But I don't want to. But as soon as Findacure said yes, we'll host it, everything changed completely. But the activities have been very wide-ranging. My dad was a doctor, and I think he's been a bit horrified by the experiences that I've had. And so one of the things I wanted to do was to talk to trainee doctors. And partly as a result of the mentoring scheme, I've done patient narrative events with over 50 medical students and their tutors, and that's made a huge difference to me, and I now mentor 2 medical students myself, because they both came up afterwards and said that was, I've just learned more than I learned in all the neurological lectures I've been to, all 3 of them didn't go. But also that they understood about the value of mentoring, and that they needed someone sort of outside of their world to help them keep an eye on their world, if that makes any sense. Been doing a lot of networking amongst clinicians, patients and other professionals, and hearing everybody else's experiences here today has been invaluable for me as well. It's hugely, hugely motivating to hear what everyone else is doing. I'm very grateful, thank you. There's quite a lot of information out there about Mouth Debarkment syndrome, but it's not terribly well organised. So one of the things that I did was contact the Genetic and Rare Diseases at the National Institutes of Health in America and ask them to update their information. And they've put together a really great link which clearly sets out the 2 treatment options that have developed from recent research. I think amongst rare conditions we are very fortunate. There are a number of different treatment options that have been through limited, obviously, research, and I think now the next question is going to be which one is going to be more suitable for which patient, probably depending on their background medical histories. Gradually over the years I've noticed quite a lot of us have convergence, insufficiency, lack of binocular vision, and there are a few other common denominators, minor head injuries being one of them. So we've got to now try and figure out which treatment is appropriate for who. So that was a great start. Contacting them was a great start. We've also, our t-shirts say we rock. There are a bunch of doctors in the UK called the Spin Doctors that are setting up and running balance centres, and they're invaluable, they're great, but they're mostly dealing with rotational vertigo, which is somewhat different. But we've now selected 2 fantastic guys who we're dubbing the Rock Dogs, And one of them, who's the protege of the other one, is going to New York in February, so we're very excited. He's going to train with one of the people who's developed one of the protocols. That is paid for by me. That's not ideal. I would rather that it was paid for by, I don't know, somebody other than me. But then go, that's how it's happening. He's hugely excited, and so are we. And we're now putting proposals together as to how we're going to fundraise for the technology, but we need to deliver that. I think in a way we're quite fortunate. I know that working with pharma can be a lengthy and expensive process, but this is basically a kit that you need a projector and a step ladder for, and then the right software. Although the measuring technology is slightly more expensive, the delivery technology is dirt cheap. So we're pretty lucky. We should be able to get that in very quickly, and if not, I'll sell my house. So as I said before, it started really with the blogs, which I believe have had quite a lot of views. And although I couldn't bring myself to write about master Bartman syndrome every time, what I wanted to do was try and draw on the experiences of people with various rare diseases and rare conditions, and highlight some of the things that are common features, like sometimes the great good fortune that we had to get diagnosed in the first place, and then the difficulties of negotiating your way around the NHS, which I've been trying to do for myself. So using MdDS as an example, but also using the common features. And it turns out I know 5 people with conditions, or know of 5 people with rare conditions, and other people obviously volunteered their stories as well. I'm very grateful to them. And our June blog, June is June Awareness Month for master Bartman syndrome, and Dr. Tim Hain, who's an all-time neurological vestibular god in Chicago, actually published my June blog on his website, on his webpage. And I was a bit pleased with that. It was sort of like getting a contract with Brunt or something. It was extraordinary for a writer. And I also blogged for the Rare Diseases UK, which got a lot of hits as well, a lot of views as well. But all along, really, part of my remit that I gave myself was to get rare into the mainstream, and off the back of the success of those blogs, I've got an article coming out in BMJ, and I am dead chuffed with that because I'm getting paid for it. In fact, I've already been paid for it. And it mentions MdDS, but it's mostly about rare conditions, and it also touches on the problems of having an invisible condition as well, which I think a lot of people know that can cause some problems. We've been able to, since having a mentor, I felt like it's not just me ranting on, going, oi, this isn't good enough. It's me with two very credible organisations behind me ranting on. And so my communications with organisations like VIDA, the Vestibular Disorders Association, have become much more professional, because I sort of feel that I can sign off saying, my campaign group has a mentor supplied by Findacure, and it gives so much credibility to what I'm asking about and what I'm suggesting. We've also been liaising with various charities. I don't really want to set up a charity because it's such a lot of work, so I'm trying to see if we can work with an existing one to set up an appeal, but we don't know yet. We've also got members, the people who are part of the MdDS UK group, have now been getting much more involved with other patient involvement groups. So somebody went to the Brain Trust recently to represent for rare conditions and for MdDS. And she said it was really interesting to be, again, part of the solution, not part of the problem. And I was absolutely delighted to sponsor the Findacure essay competition, and I just read some of the winning results, and obviously I've only read the extracts, but they are really fantastic. I'm hoping that we'll get to do something. I think I'm judging next year. I don't know whether I can sponsor it and judge it as well, but that was really valuable to me. And we're also working with clinicians to get MdDS included in the UK Genome Project. My sister had similar symptoms for a couple of years, and I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but for me it was huge, because I was immediately believed, which a lot of people aren't. And so obviously I'm concerned for the next generation, and I want to make sure that we look at it from a genetics point of view as well as from a treatment point of view. And we're also working to get that pathway written. Remember my old doctor got rid of him a while ago, but he said to me, there's no pathway. And I was like, so what? You'll make one up then, eh? As of last week, we've got a selection of a team, including 2 medical advisors, to help us set up a global patient register. It's a huge piece of work to do, but it's something that I think, I sort of hope that the Foundation in America are going to do it, but it doesn't seem to be much sign of that. And I've got good working relationships now with these 2 researchers, so I'm really hopeful that we can get that set up. And also, I've found myself a new mentor because I realised how valuable this was. This is someone who's completely out of the medical field. I've had 1 session with him so far. I was so motivated to do my homework before I arrived, if you know what I mean. I did lots more that day than I would have done. And prior to the next session, I've already done my homework, so I'm ahead of the game. But I'm sad to let Fiona go, and you are completely irreplaceable, I promise you. He's got a lot of living up to do. But I realised it was so important to me that I've gone out and found myself someone really. And overall, as I said to start with, the main outcome from the mentoring scheme is that I no longer feel that I'm viewed as a patient. I never felt like this, but I no longer feel that I'm viewed as a patient with a set of symptoms that can't be cured, but rather as a resource and a valuable one at that. Thank you very much for my attention.